So every Tuesday and Thursday I have these two lectures back to back. Luckily they're right next to each other, I would never make them. And because they're Tuesday and Thursday lectures, they're longer than regular lectures. So I leave at 3:30 and I don't get out until 6. And the sun is always down now when I get out, which is a little bit depressing. It also makes planning meals relatively difficult. That's why I always appreciate when I remember that I packed some fruit in my bag. I'm so happy that sometimes I sing this song.
The fruit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S, bananas. Bananas.
Video log spectacular.
Hey guys, it's Saturday, December 3rd, and that means it's the last vlog probably that I'm gonna do from here in my dorm before I go home, and that means there's a lot of stuff I want to get done, so it's gonna be a general housekeeping video. That's why I put on this velvety woman suit. Alright, so let's go down the list. Katie! First of all, I'm not really convinced that boys don't get periods. Also, that thing you said about how those kids would say those swear words like damn and ass and reminded me of when I was a little kid, and I used to think that it was really inappropriate whenever Nickelodeon would use words like sexy. There was an episode of The Fairly Odd Parents where that one guy who had like an accent and he was supposed to be like Fabio of the fairies said he was sexy, and I just thought, oh, this has gone too far. I'm no prude, but I mean. Also, once Helga from Hey Arnold called her food crap. Too far. But yes, I'm going to try and make it to that presentation about colleges, and I'm willing to admit that like 90% of the reason I'm going to try and make it there is just because I don't want you to end up being the only one presenting. It's not because I got into a good college. Other Katie, you're not a boring vlogger. For instance, in this last video, I got to learn that you have cable at your house now. Now I can die happy. But seriously, don't change. Also, your video reminded me that it's kind of odd that Neil only comments on Facebook statuses to comment on how stupid everyone is for all commenting on one status. And in doing so, he tries to point out, like, flaws in humanity and why he's better than everyone else. But for that to be the case, the only Facebooking Neil does is when it's about something that's really popular. Neil pwned. Also, Catherine, in light of Katie Giblin, I think that all of us in the vlog should try to convince Catherine Bothwell to go to each individual school that they ended up going to. Because I know how much you love trying to be influenced on which school to go to, Katie. Especially when it has absolutely nothing to do with what you want to do with your life. And that's why you should really come to Riverside. We have the largest sea on top of a hill in all of the UC system. Think about it, Katie. Think about all the things you could do with that sea. Melissa, I know that you didn't have Mr. Salter as a teacher. At least I don't think you did. Which is why, in light of your recent illness, I'm going to try and educate you about the way that most illnesses are spread, and that is through your eyes. Illness. But seriously, everyone, cold and flu season's coming up, and when you rub your eyes, all those germs go straight into your body. Straight shot to the brain. Also, I don't know where I'm going to go when the volcano blows, but I'd imagine I'm probably going to try to go to Paradise, where I will have a cheeseburger. Nah? Taylor, I noticed in your video there were at least 2 instances of you being too afraid of social norms to do something that you would otherwise do. One where you didn't announce your Thanksgiving resolutions because you were too afraid that Will Harney would find out, or something. By the way, Melissa, mission is a go. But also that you were afraid to take the trash out while wearing flannel pajamas, which is why I wanted to share with you a story. Within the first couple weeks of being here in college, and to this day, really the only interaction I've had with my RA was over the weekend when I was wearing my smiley face pajama pants and probably my Flash sweatshirt, which clashes horribly with my smiley face pants, and my bowling shoes, which stand out quite a bit considering my smiley face pants and like a foot before it gets to my feet. And I'm probably gonna go to dinner right now dressed like this. Nacho just came in and I feel bad. Also, I can't show it, but near the end of your video, there's a point when you start to say what you're gonna do when this semester ends, but then you start talking about a CD, and you don't really end the sentence. Taylor, I really need to know what you're gonna do when September ends. Otherwise, I'm left wondering. Fly fishing? Skydiving lessons? Buying a wave runner and becoming a pirate? The public has a right to know. Samantha, I accept your challenge to help you make your documentary, even though we just talked on the phone for half an hour and I have no idea what it's about. Also, this strikes me as not the first time you've uploaded a really short video and promised to do a longer video the next day. And then it didn't happen. So I got my fingers crossed. Also, I've really started to put some thought into why it is that I enjoy vlogging, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. Alright, these are my Thanksgiving resolutions, which is a name I've decided I really don't like. It should really have a better name, like, whenever you think of it resolutions, you should start doing it resolutions, or today resolutions. I feel like there's something there. Needs to be massaged a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure I can make a book out of that. But in the soul searching I do when I'm lying awake in bed, I've decided that my resolutions include wearing clothes that fit better. Yeah, that's right. Staying busy as a way of life. Start running again. That one's going to start when I go back home. Make a habit of getting my assignments at least started as soon as I get them. That goes for everything. I mean, not just assignments, but like anytime I have to do anything that I would otherwise put off. Spend more time with people, because as the old Thomas Jefferson quote goes, that I don't know off the top of my head, spend more time with people, or you'll be alone and weird. The funny thing is, I think that paraphrase is surprisingly close to the actual quote. And then there's some things that kind of fit better into the New Year's resolution category. The reason I don't like New Year's resolutions is because it's just a way to make people into lemmings, and it doesn't advance them any better. It's an idea that comes from a good place. You're obviously trying to make yourself a better person, and you're looking for some grander structure to make it something more important than you, so it feels like it needs to happen. But the problem with that is, it almost never happens as a result. But I would like to say that for the coming year, I'm trying to develop kind of a bucket list. Things that I'll work towards and hope to have done by the time this year is over. Now, kind of the biggest thing on this list, I'm not really sure if it's something I want to put on the list in and of itself, or if it's just something that needs to happen so I can make all the other ones happen, but either way, I'd like to get a job so that I stay busier and so that I'm just more productive in general, but most importantly, so I have money. Money so I can buy a car, so I can drive around and hopefully make it easier to have a job. So I can make more money, so I can make sure the car works. And so that I can put into effect the other two things that I know for certain I want to put on this bucket list, which include go on a road trip and give to charity. Listening to Katie complain about babysitting reminded me of all the times that my dad tried to convince me to get like a lawn mowing service going in my neighborhood, or all the times I thought about how I'm theoretically old enough to start babysitting but never did anything about it, or just the proverbial little kid's lemonade stand in general. Even though if your 11-year-old tries to set up a lemonade stand, he's gonna get arrested because he doesn't have permits. I'm not making it up, people. So I suppose that's really what all of my New Year's resolutions fit into, is trying to make up for lost time. All the times when I should have been working towards becoming more and more responsible when I was a kid, and never did. Because honestly, the responsibility level I'm at now is like half the responsibility level I should have been when I was like 13. And one of the things that made that occur to me more than I ever thought it would was a few weeks ago when I donated to charity. Donated to charity. I don't have like any money, first of all. My contributions were in $5 parcels, and one of them was in exchange for me getting this bracelet, which costs about $5, so really I just bought a bracelet. But it brought me to the conclusion that charity is like the best thing ever. I never really felt like I got charity when I was a little kid, and for a lot of the same reasons I still don't. I mean, any charity is just an organization where you decide to give them your money, and then you just kind of have to hope that they're going to spend your money in a way that you would want them to help affect some sort of change, to make the world better. I think that's mostly why I've never really gotten into the idea of donating to charity, because I feel like I have no control. And the sad truth is, that's kind of the way it is for like most of the charities. A lot of the money you're donating is disappearing to administrative costs, either because the charities just run inefficiently, or because some terrible person has gotten into the industry just so they can shave off as much money as they can to put into their own pocket. The big tsunamis, Hurricane Katrina, earthquakes in Japan, big time in the Haiti earthquake, a lot of money disappeared to unscrupulous charities. And also another reason that charity kind of ooks me out is because like, once you start getting into it, it reminds you of how many things there are that you can donate to. And that might be one of the most overwhelming feelings ever. You donate to a certain kind of cancer research, and all the other cancer research don't get that money. I mean, like, how are you supposed to choose? For Veterans Day, I donated $5 to Fisher House, which helps the families of wounded veterans stay near them while they're getting hospital care. As charities go, it happens to be rated one of the highest for efficiency. But once my $5 had cleared and actually gone into their coffers, it made me forget about the fact that there are so many other organizations that help veterans out in different ways, and how my $5 weren't helping them in those specific ways, or weren't helping out malaria, or weren't helping out cancer, because all I could feel was the obvious truth, and that's that those $5 went to help actual people somewhere in a way that wouldn't have happened if I had donated no money to anywhere. And donating nothing to nowhere is the only way that you can obtain that kind of blissful ignorance that you'd like when thinking about all of the bad that there is in the world. Which reminds me of my last resolution. and that's that I'm going to try and start to do some random acts of kindness. I'm an Eagle Scout after all. Do a good turn daily. That's something we learned in Cub Scouts. And I try to hold doors open for people and stuff like that, but I don't feel like I actively try to be a good person. And that's what's on the docket for me starting now. Especially since it's December, and as some of you may know, December means it's time for a project for awesome. I rip off the Vlog Brothers all day long. I may be speaking for you guys, but I know that I certainly don't have any money, so we're probably not going to raise a lot of money for charity. And the more I think about it, I honestly don't expect you guys to do anything. That's another thing I hate about charity as an industry, is that it makes most of its money through trying to blame people or make them feel guilty for not giving. So I'm just going to let you guys know that I'm going to have my own little personal 2011 project for awesome. It's not going to be monetary based, but hopefully it's going to make some people's lives better, even for just a minute. And as far as intellectual property goes, that's definitely something I have to credit Samantha Elsie for teaching me. It's been a good first week. I'll see you guys soon.